Today we'll be taking a look at the payments function within the RynohFunding module in Rynoh. Payments allows you to skip the step of logging into your bank's website to process payments and allows you to do all the payments from within Rynoh directly. We interface with some of the nation's largest banks, and that list continues to grow. So for today, let's take a quick demo and look as to how that functionality works. So to start and access the tool, you're probably typically familiar with logging in and seeing your Rynoh Live entry page. So this is what it looks like in our demo environment. Now to switch over to the RynohFunding module, we'll click this little drop down in the left-hand corner and go to RynohFunding. Now, the first page that we see when we log into RynohFunding is our admin page. This is really where we tweak and change the settings that underpin how the funding module works. So the funding module has two different components, Rynoh Verify, which is discussed in another video that's available, and Rynoh Payments. Verify does the verifications of disbursements using the early warning service database to determine that the bank account number, routing number, and payee name should be associated with one another. And payments, once you've verified, if you so choose, will allow you to go ahead and process those payments without logging into your bank's website. So let's go ahead and take a look at what some of the settings look like for Rynoh Payments. So if we click the search button, we'll see here that in our environment, we have several escrow demo accounts. We can see that we have verified, checked, and payment enabled for each of these. In your instance, if you haven't enabled this before, you won't see a check mark here. So if you want to turn that on, you'll click the edit button for that particular account over here on the right-hand side, and you'll see that you get three different tabs here. The first tab is account information. So this is where you can determine which users in your organization have access to Rynoh Payments. And you'll have a little checkbox over here on the right-hand side to either turn that on or off. Second step would be to go to the Payments tab, and you can toggle payments functionality on or off with this little switch. So for purposes of today, we'll leave this turned on. You'll see some other settings in here, and if you're curious as to what any of them do, you can hover over this little eye icon, and it will give you some additional detail on that particular setting. The main setting that we will look at today is the delineation of duties functionality within Rynoh Payments. So you'll see here we can have one user with the ability to do the preparation step and another user with the ability to do the approve step. So typically, you can have a delineation of duties where one person is enabled to do preparations of the payments, and then another person would need to log in and do the approvals of those payments. For purposes of this demo here today, we have our test user with the ability to do both. You can also add custom rejection reasons for your organization. So if there's something that comes up frequently, like please take a double look at this, or this doesn't have the right numbers added, or this one was rejected, you can add a specific rejection reason there, which will then be populated in the funding screen. So let's go ahead and click Save. And to actually use the tool, we'll click the Funding tab up here at the top in purple. From within funding, you'll see over here on the left-hand side, we really have two different funding modules. So as I mentioned earlier, Verify is our disbursement verification tool within Rynoh. There is a separate video available where we go through that functionality. For today, we'll take a look at payments. So let's click into payments, and we're greeted with this search criteria. So this is where we can pull in all of our different disbursements that fed in from our escrow software through the integration and determine which one we want to go ahead and prepare for payment. So let's go ahead and click search. And you'll see here it pulls many different transactions and disbursements. So for purposes of today's demo, let me just go ahead and select one that I know will work well. So if we go here to the third page, let's use this mortgage payoff. So it's $243,000, and we want to issue a payment for this. So we'll go ahead and check it off. And you'll see here we get a button for prepare. This is because this particular user has the access needed to do the prepare step for this payment. Let's go ahead and click prepare. It will say, yes, are you sure? We'll verify that. And then that particular transaction will fall off and move over to our prepared transaction or payment bucket. Up next, we would click the filters. And now let's just take a look at just our prepared payments. So if we click prepared and run the search, you'll see here that that $243,000 payment now sits here as prepared. The next step is to go ahead and approve and submit. So we would check this, and if I do have the approve and submit access, this would go ahead and allow me to approve and submit. So if we click the approve and submit button, we would move to that step. We also have the option to reject this, and this is where those customized reasons that I mentioned earlier come into play. We have some preloaded reasons, or you can add your own. So when we click approve and submit, we'll put our submission name. Let's just put test for today, and we can also select when we want to submit it, either now or later. It'll confirm that we are ready to submit. And then we will just enter our name. There is a bit of a paper trail here, so you can see exactly who signed off digitally on this to approve and submit the payment. Once that's done, you'll see that that particular payment falls off here, and we're able to then catch that one over on the pending screen. So if we deselect all and view our submitted filter, we'll see here that we have a number of different payments that have been submitted. Now, because this isn't dealing with actual payments, and this is just a demo environment, they haven't progressed further. However, in your real environment, this payment will typically be processed in under 10 minutes, and you will get that Fed OMAD reference number once it's been completed. So again, this spares you having to log into your bank website to process payments, and it allows you to complete all of that right here within Rynoh. Using the verification as well, you do get a verified status here, giving you some additional confidence. And again, please reference my verify video for more information on Rynoh Verify. And you do get that Fed OMAD reference number right here within Rynoh. So again, this really helps Rynoh become that one-stop shop that you can log in and get your payments out. Thank you so much for listening to our demo today. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.